with starting and pointing out to this map that Freek already showed you. You see that a lot is happening across the whole EU, and a lot of you are busy with the topic of the circular economy here in Czech Republic. You know that we are, in a way, circular hotspot together already. There's so much activities going on down here on a city level. We have a city officials sitting at the back here from Prague who just finished a study together with us and said, we want to go circular. Governmental strategy by 2040, Czech wants to be circular. There's a lot of companies doing great stuff. Startups from Circle, for example, but also established SMEs and corporates that are really, really going fast. And I think also they want to go far. But for that, we think the collaboration on an international basis is a key. And that's why I wanted to start with showing this map, because as we can all see, something really, really interesting happened over the last 4 years. If you show this map, Freek, 4 years ago, I wonder who would be there. INCIEN was set up 4 years ago, you know, and I know a lot of these institutions, we were in touch with them. I don't mean like a ministry in Slovakia, but there's a lot of private or NGOs that are driving the change in their own countries. It's all very fresh, small, but there is definitely a transition happening right now, and it's great to be at its forefront. But again, I will repeat and maybe explain why we wanted to have this session, because we think that we cannot do this all alone. And this collaboration within the EU with our close partners, as Netherlands has already been together in trade with Czech Republic, could really accelerate things and make it easier, because it's not easy to make that transition towards a circular economy. And from a personal level, INCIEN itself, that idea started in the Netherlands while we were studying over there. We got extremely inspired by already that drive that was there on a university level in the EU. And it was all just starting, and we realized this is going to be big one day, and we want to be the ones who bring it through the Czech Republic. So you can think of us as we are really capitalizing and building on this value that someone else maybe has started creating somewhere else. And we're helping with that inspiration to be brought to the Czech Republic. Also, of course, adding from our own experience and network to adjust the things to the local level, because it's not always the same in Netherlands and in Czech Republic, and you have to be quite flexible with dealing with the local issues, with the local stakeholders, with the local problems and solutions. But so I started talking about us. I think a lot of you have already heard about us many times, but very shortly, we are an NGO started 4 years ago. We just had our anniversary last week. We are focusing on one thing, making the transition in Czech Republic and Slovakia towards the circular economy happen. Really allowing Czech and Slovakia go from linear towards the circular economy. And we're helping anyone who's interested in that transition, making that happen. For example, municipalities, we have about 300 references right now with the biggest cities like Prague, Brno, Ostrava, but also with the smallest villages at the very far end of the Czech Republic with a few hundred citizens. And we're helping them to understand the concept and apply it in their own needs and principles. Also, we're working with the businesses. I will show you a few cases of good practice that we've been partnered up with or we're working with together right now. And personally, I see business, and it has been said already here today, as the key driver towards the circular economy, because they are the flexible ones. They have this very core inner motivation, making things happen from day to day. As long as some CEO or board member decides, things can happen really fast, and we've seen it, and I hope we'll see much more of that in the future. But of course, we are not only educating ourselves by doing all this, but one of our key elements is educating the broader society. That's why we have our news portal. Zaime said that's why we are doing this together here, this event, and that's why we're very busy with being at every workshop, roundtable, or conference we get invited to, because we think it's really necessary for people to hear why do we need the circular economy and how do we get there. And we achieve this by working with many of you here today, including people from the government, from the public sphere, NGOs, but also business. How do we do it? We developed a 4-step process, which starts with some general inspiration. What is a circular economy? What it can bring to you? Because every company is different. You know, someone is making products, someone is making services, and these principles can apply very differently to different stakeholders. But we start there. Then we analyze the current situation and we identify spaces for improvement, and we build on it with pointing out the key leverage points, the key ingredients, and the easy low-hanging fruits that we can really help with making circular, be it a product, be it a service, be it in a way the city manages its waste. So, but first we build on this data-driven approach. And then, in the end, we think that every ambitious solution needs to be heard about. So we're pretty good and keen on communicating our success, the success of our partners, and in general, the topic of the circular economy. Jorit showed interesting slide with 7 key principles of the circular economy. We're also using them. They're a little bit different though, but I think it's all about the same thing. For us, it's about using waste as a resource. To me, that's the very bottom line of the circular economy. Thinking of waste as a resource. The same in nature. There's no waste in nature. Everything that becomes waste or dies is an entry input to another process. And it's really interesting to think how you can apply these processes in the world of humans. Of course, everything needs to be powered by renewables. And these 2 elements have large implications to how you design your products or services. Sometimes you really need to come up with new ways of collaborating, sometimes even with the competitors. Sometimes you really need to work with people that you would have never imagined that you would. And of course, new business models, new products bring about a lot of challenges in how you sell. So that involves new interaction with the customers. Maybe you need to educate them. You know, you can repair your stuff or bring it back, we will reuse it. This is something else for them right now. And to me personally, I think this very spicy ingredient to this whole transition in the circular economy is digital technology. Because as AI and digital technology will touch upon everything about and around us, circular economy will not be missed out. So I'm really looking forward to cool stuff that's already happening today in the Czech Republic in terms of some nice startups, but also globally. We've seen what happened with Uber, with Airbnb in just a few years, and I think it's just the beginning. Okay, to cut it short, my point that I'm trying to make here in these last few slides is that Czech has a lot to show. We are not lagging behind, and that's very interesting because I think that a lot of people in the Czech Republic don't have a very high self-confidence when it comes to circular economy and innovation. But when you go down and when you talk to the people, when you go to the regions, when you talk to small SMEs, family companies, you realize they're doing extremely a lot, and what they have managed and achieved can be of global importance. And that's why we also think the hotspots and being part of it doesn't have to only be about making use of what someone else has invented in a different country, but it can also be about marketing and expanding our own technology and know-how that has been developed here in the Czech Republic, maybe even for the last few decades. One of the really, really interesting examples is a company, Heidel, which, as many of you know, has a global patent for making completely biodegradable, non-harmful plastics, which is a rare case. Usually we know the discussion about bioplastics. It's not so easy, but this is a good example of a working case. And they're making it out of waste oil, something of almost no or close to zero value. They're making it extremely high value material, biodegradable plastic. They have a global patent, and we're helping them in here in the Czech Republic to being heard and expanding to the whole world. Another company, and I could go on, I just selected 3, so don't worry, we're almost at the end. It's a company, Artstech. Again, Jorit showed a great example of a company in the Netherlands that has managed to build this portable or movable machine that recycles construction material. This is exactly what Erstec is doing. Not with a machine, but they have a patent on reusing waste, cement and asphalt and beton, and making new cement with almost close to 100% recycled content out of it. And we're proud partners with Erstec, and I'm really, really sure that soon it will not be only Czech Republic that will hear a lot about what they're doing. But as it has been mentioned, it's not just about the companies. Cities have a huge role to play in the circular economy, and we're happy to announce that we just finished one of our major projects this year, a scan for Prague, which is all about forming a vision and inspiring the leadership about how Prague can be circular. And already a few pilot projects are developing from it. Right now we're discussing setting up a closed organic loop system for the whole Prague from citizens and restaurants that are producing a lot of organic waste, which is right now being burned. And we're losing this material, right? If you burn it, you cannot put it back to the soil. So we're designing a way how to close it in a biogas station, create organic fertilizer, and also biofuel in form of biogas that could power the whole waste truck fleet, which is about 700 cars. So that's a real impact here, not only for the money, but also for the local environment in terms of the emission reduction on our streets. And I think it's just the start of what's really going to happen. I can't talk about it, but more is coming up, and we'll be happy to keep you posted. And if we go even larger and we zoom out and we look at the whole Czech Republic, there's something really great happening as well. It's the vision or roadmap for Circular Czech by 2040. Led by the Minister of Environment and Mr. Marshak at the back over there. So if you have any questions about it, please go and talk to him. I'm sure he will be happy to reply back. But I think we have a lot to look forward to. So this has been just shortly to explain that we're not this midget in the whole EU in terms of the circular economy. No, we're actually quite doing well. And we can do even better. And maybe the hotspots, being part of this larger network that collaborates, organizes events together, shares best cases of practice systematically, and helps local organizations to scale up and maybe enter different markets, could be a way how to accelerate the transition to the circular economy here in the Czech Republic. So that's the idea behind this event.